Hello and good day guys. In this video I'm going to show you how I answered one of the UiPath level 3 exercise, which is calculate client security hash. So I'm using two laptops right now. So in my another laptop I've opened this PDF example. So I'll just focus on how to do it using the UiPath Studio. So before we started, make sure that you have installed the UiPath Studio and you have configured your orchestrator. Because what's this? That's one of the important. Uh, it plays an important role in this automation. Okay, so let's get started. So first we will be creating this activity using the robotic enterprise framework. So let's start. Let's name it calculate client security hash. Okay, so I think I'll just add the date today. And let's go. So in this activity, as instructed on the PDF file, we will not be using an orchestrator queue. So we'll be just using orchestrator for the asset for the Acme System 1 login. But for the data to be processed, we will capture that directly from the Acme System 1 website. Okay, so just bear with me. It's taking a long time to start creating the project, but it will be completed soon. Okay, so we have it now. Okay, so in here, if you will go through the PDF file, the first instruction is to go with a config file. So to go on that, you need to use or click this button and then look for the data folder and open this config.xlsx file. So here we have a default values under the setting tab. So since we will not be using orchestrator, I think we should delete this one. And then based on the PDF file, we need to add two names for the setting tab. So the first one is the system1 URL and the other one is the SHA1 online URL. So we need to put value on those names. So I have here the for the system1 URL and for the SHA1 URL. Okay, so once you have that, just save it. And then we also need to add system1 credential in here. So I think let's just name it Acme credential, and let me copy that value, or let me save this file first and let's copy this value. So this is important because this is the value that UiPath Studio will look from the orchestrator to get the system1 credential for username and password. So make sure that you have already registered to the Acme System 1 and make sure to remember your username and password. So once you have username and password on this site, just go to the orchestrator, go to the asset page and add another asset or add a new asset. So Let's name that acme credential, which is the value that we put on the config file. And then on the type, make sure that you select credential, so automatically it will look for username and password. So for the username, it's my email, and for the password, I hope that I write it correctly. So just click create, and you have now the acme credential under your asset. So going back to the studio or on the config file, so what else did we miss in here? Okay, now let's switch to the constant and change the max retry number to 2. And then on in the framework, we need to make a following changes, or we need to make a changes. So we need to change the transaction item variable in the main file to data row type. So where you can see that, so here we have here 3 tabs: variable, arguments, and imports. So here in the variable, okay, no, nothing is showing because you need to select first the main sequence, and then you can see here all the general variable that is accessible on the UL process. So we have here the transaction item. So by default, the variable type of this variable is queue item, but since we will not be using the orchestrator queue, we need to change this variable type into data row. So if you do not see the data row available on the default options, just click rows for types and then type data row. So make sure to select the one under system.data, and there it was updated to data row. So once you update that, you will receive some error because there are arguments that are connected to that general variable. So we need to update those as well. So we'll start with get transaction data. So let's go inside, and okay, we have here an error, but this is we can simply fix this type of error. Just okay, it's lagging. Just remove the value and then click here and then put it back again. Yep. And here you can see that the error is because this transaction item variable type inside the get transaction data sequence is currently declared as queue item. So we need to change that from that sequence. So let's look for the get transaction data, open it, and so we will not be using orchestrator, so we can now delete this item. Make sure to remove that, and then here in arguments we have here the out transaction item, so we need to change that to data row, and make sure to save. Once you close that, here in the main, what will happen is that it will remove the value because the variable type has been changed. So you just need to select the transaction item again, and okay. So as you can see, there's no error now, but we still have one here, so I think that's under the exception. Yeah. So again, magic trick, remove the value, click here and then put it back again, and it's like a magic. Make sure to save that, and going back here, you can see that there's no more error. So we're good with the get transaction data. Now let's go to the next one, which is the process. So in the main file, general business, as you go here, you will see that there's an error with the process. So double click to go inside that sequence or main sequence, and here you can see that the error is in here because again, because of the data type. So we need to go here on the process sequence and change the argument of this one to data row. Save and then close it, and then here in import argument, just put the transaction item back. As you can notice here, the data row was already updated. The update will only reflect once you save what you did on the sequence. So oh, there's another error. Where is that? Maybe here? No. Let's check the exception. Okay, the set transaction status is the last one because is there a transaction item here? Okay, there's another one. So we need to open this one. Set transaction status. Okay, let's change the argument type to the data row, and then since we are not using orchestrator, we can already delete this this tree activity. And make sure to save the file and close it. Now in the import arguments, we need to there's no missing. Okay, was set to nothing, so I think everything is good now. Okay, to validate that, go to execute tab and click validate, and it says there's no validation error found. Okay, so let me check the PDF file again. Okay, based on the next instruction, we need to create two folder for the two system that we will be using. So go to the root folder again by clicking this icon, and here create new folder. One is for the system 1 and another one for Shawan Online. Shawan Online. Okay, let's close that. So when you are no longer using the config file, you can already close it. So because once we run the main file, we might receive an error if the UiPath Studio detected that the config file is open. Okay. The next one is we need to create a blank sequence under the system 1 folder. So go to design, click new sequence, and this is for the system 1 login. So let's name this sequence system 1 login, and make sure to browse for the correct path. So system 1, select that folder and create. So once you refresh this, you can see that there's already a sequence under the system 1 folder. So here in the system 1 login, we need to create two in arguments. So go here, and the first argument is the system 1 URL, and it's a string, and the other one is the system 1 credential. Okay, and then we need to invoke the framework get app credential. So let's look for that framework get app credentials. which is this one. And then here in the import argument, we need to assign the IN credential, so this should be our system1 credential. And here we need to create two new variables, so just press Ctrl K if you do not have the variable first, because using Ctrl K it will automatically create the variable and assign the value. So let's just say username and press enter. And for the password, okay, let's delete this one. Again, press control and then K. Let's name it password and hit enter. So don't worry about this. Once you click OK, it should be good. And you can see that the variable are automatically added with the correct variable type. So utilize using that shortcut key, because it's very helpful. Okay, the next one is to use the open browser. Let's use open browser. Go to activities and search for open browser. And we need to navigate, or we need to insert URL, which is should be the value of the system1 URL. And then inside the do, we need to add maximize window. Okay, so let me just test this sequence, so make sure to save that because I don't have an IE yet. So let's run. And this video will be divided into, I'm not sure how many parts, but I will promise to complete this activity. So what happened is, okay, I think it was not able to connect to our orchestrator. So let me see what happened. Okay, because there's nothing there's no value in here, so let's put a default value. So for the system1 log, for the URL, let's use this. Why this is showing? And for the system1 credential, let's use this one. So for testing purposes only, make sure to delete that after the test, save it, and then let's hit run. Okay, I think it was successful. It was able to open the browser, and in this moment it was able to capture or retrieve the username and password based on the credential value that we sent. So let me remove that now. And now that we have this page, the next activity is to use type into. We need to type the username and password in here. So let's look for the type into, and then let's capture the email text box, and let's assign username. And then the next one is type secure text, because the variable type of the password is a secure text. Capture that element, and then here on the the secure text, let's put password and hit OK. And then after that, we need to click the login. So get this click, indicate the login, and this should be good. So next one is make sure that you check the simulate type property on each type into activity, as well on the button login. We need to click simulate click. So on the PDF file, there's a good practice that it want us to include in this activity is this it is using the element exists activity. So once you have a successful login, I'm just trying to simulate it. Okay, why? No. Why? Okay, let the program log in instead. So let me test this. Okay, I need to return the default value here. Why I forgot my password to Acme. Did I spell it correctly? Yeah. And it's a string, so make sure to put it inside double quote. Save it and let's try it because I can't log in. Let me close this one first and run. Okay, so I think it has a successful login. So again, we need to use an activity to ensure that we had a successful login is by checking if this element exists after we click the login button. So we need to look for the element exists. Okay, let's put that here, and then let's capture what element we want to check. So let me just check the selector of that. Okay, wasn't able to capture it correctly, so let's try again. Okay, why is that? Let's try to capture it. No. No, maybe because yeah, should be able to capture. Why is that? There. Okay, and here we need to assign an output variable, so I think can just call it element exists as well. And then after that, we need to use an if condition. So here, if element exists, wait, let me just put this to complete. So here in the condition, we need to check if the element exists is true, meaning that the login is successful. So if it's true, I think let's just have a right line in here so we can see in the output that it has a login successful. And then if no, we need to add a click activity. So let's simulate the incorrect login. Wait, or I need to log out. So for example, you type a wrong credential. So here should be able to manage that as well. So we need to add a click activity on the else part, indicate the button, and let me just check the selector. It's a valid selector. Click OK, and according to the PDF file, let's throw an exception. So I'm not an expert, or I'm not that good in creating exception, but here let's just say that it's a new business rule exception, invalid credential. Okay. So I think we're good on the first part. I will continue the other I will continue with the other item on the next video. See you then. Thank you for watching.